Good evening, folks. Welcome to Visordown and welcome to the machine shop in Hinckley, where we are here with Bob, the owner of the place, and he is going to take us through some of the basic maintenance tasks on a motorcycle, how to do them and where to start. So Bob, where would you start if you were looking to check the overall health of your motorbike?
So we teach classes here at the machine shop on how to look after your bike, and every class is taught the same, so we always start at the front and we work backwards so you catch everything on the way back.
Okay.
So we start with the tyre. The tyre is the most important part of the bike because it is what's in contact with the road. So obviously you want a nice, good, sticky, fresh tyre. How you tell that is sometimes you can get some cracking around the edge of the tyre. That means it's gone hard and it's not able to flex anymore. If it's hard, it won't grip on the floor or the tarmac. It won't have a very good adhesion. We're also looking for wear markers. So on the inside of the thread, you'll have a wear marker that says that you're getting close to its 2mm legal limit. Okay. If you're getting close to that, you need to get the tyre changed. Next thing from that is the brake disc. So we're looking for a nice flat surface on the brake disc. If there's cupping, we get it's not so much contact with the brake pad that's on the inside of the caliper, and that will reduce the effectiveness of your brakes. Okay. Then we'll go on to the stanchions here, which is a part of your suspension. The stanchion should have a light film of oil, but it shouldn't be wet. You shouldn't have any oil dripping down here. If there is oil dripping down here, it means that the seal on the inside here is leaking the fork oil, which will have a negative impact on your handling. Okay.
Is that sorted? If you need to replace the fork seals, is that take it to a dealership and get it done, or can you do that at home or somewhere like this?
It's not a thing that you have to bring to a dealership. It is quite an easy job. We usually allow about 3 to 4 hours to do a fork seal change. And if it's something that you've not done before, we can teach you.
Okay, cool.
And don't think that it's just tools, clothes and consumables that can be bought through the Louis Moto online store. They also stock a vast range of motorcycle accessories too. They've got everything from LED indicators to flick-up brake levers, and they work with some of the biggest names in the business and some that you might not have heard of. Here we have some of the products from the Gazini brand. They're a high-end motorcycle accessory company creating beautiful and functional products to upgrade the most popular bikes on the market. These Leonardo indicators are super sleek, well made and extremely easy to fit. They're a perfect match to these aftermarket Gazini rear view mirrors. Again, these are a simple and quick styling addition to your bike. And for that complete makeover to the exterior of your bike, you could finish it off with these flick-up and adjustable brake levers, also from Gazini. Like everything else that we've mentioned, they are a simple addition, easy to fit, and they drastically improve the overall look of your bike.
Then we'll go on to checking the bearings.
What's the matter, mate? Go lie down.
Road, sit down.
That's fine.
So to check the bearings on the front, we straighten the wheel.
Yeah.
You can hold on to the handlebars and just steady the bike, and I'm going to give it a good rattle.
Okay.
We want to move the tyre that way. So push in at the bottom, push over at the top, and back again. Okay. So we're looking and feeling for any play back and forth.
Okay.
You can also lean down on the back of the bike and take the front wheel off the ground.
I can't.
And also what you can do with the help of a friend, you can lift the front wheel off the ground by weighting down on the rear and spin the wheel, and you listen for any rough, like a rough movement of a bearing or any knocking or grinding noises. The next thing that we check for is headstock bearings. So we have a similar setup in here with 2 sets of bearings. After some time, a lot of miles on the road, the bearings can wear out on your headstock. So what we do is we grab the forks here, and again with somebody holding onto the bike to steady it, we pull the forks this way, not directly forward but up towards your chest. Yeah, and we're looking for any notching or clicking noises coming from that area. So next we'll move on to the coolant. This is a coolant overflow bottle. It's got a lower and a higher level there, but we don't really use that too much. That's just for overflow of the coolant system. When the bike is cold, you can open this and have a look in, and this is usually filled right to the top. So you can see the coolant there. So you use the coolant is rated to the manufacturer's specification.
Okay.
Screw that back on, make sure it clicks on. There you go.
Mm-hmm. And how much would you put in? If you opened that cap there and there was no coolant to be found or no coolant to be seen, where would you top it up to?
So you can buy different types of coolant. Some of it is pre-mixed already, and then if you're pouring pre-mix in all the way to the top, if you're pouring water in, you can put some coolant in with that, and then just fill it all the way to the top, and the bike will sort the rest of it out.
Okay.
If it has too much, it will just pop it into this bottle here.
Oh, right, okay.
It's not an issue.
So engine oil really is the lifeblood of an engine. So where would you start with checking the level of the engine oil in your bike?
Okay, so it's a pretty easy one. A lot of people are scared of it. A lot of bikes now have this sight glass down here. So the sight glass has the lower and upper limit, which is very easy. You wait for your bike to be cold. And make sure it's stood up like this. So ideally, when you come home from a ride out, park it up on a centre stand or a paddock stand, and then wait for the bike to go cold to a touch, and then you check your oil. That means all the oil that comes from the head and around the crank and everywhere it's settled into somewhere it needs to be to measure.
Right.
If your bike doesn't have a sight glass, we can use a dipstick. So a lot of bikes have a dipstick here.
Built into the cap.
Built into the cap. So you pull it out and it have a dipstick here with a higher and a lower limit.
Right, okay.
Obviously, if it is at its lower limit, you need to top it up. And you can top it up with a manufacturer's specified oil. Okay.
And how would you know how much engine oil to actually put in? Would you just, pour half a bottle in, or would you pour a bit at a time?
So you want to put in about a cupful at a time until you got about 3/4 of the way up the dipstick.
So between the high and the low mark on
Exactly.
the dipstick. Okay.
Yeah.
Class.
So a few bits and pieces that you want to check with your foot pegs is for wear or loose foot pegs here. So sometimes the hole down here starts to get slack because all your weight's on top of that all the time. It wears out the inside of the hole. And without you noticing, your foot pegs could be boggling them down.
Right.
Obviously, if you go over a pothole or something or have to brake hard, your feet could slip off. So always keep a good check on that.
Okay.
And while we're talking about motorcycle maintenance, here are a few of the highlight products from the Louis Moto shop to help you furnish your workshop. And they are, starting with the important stuff, some socket sets. These 92-piece Rothwold kits come fully equipped and are available in metric and imperial. They feature padded handles and a neat bend in the ratchet that moves your hand out of harm's way. The Rothwold Workshop Creeper is an extremely handy item. Whether you're working on the bike while it's on the ground or on paddock stands, it really saves you back in the workshop. This Kraftmeyer tool trolley is very good quality and great value, with more than enough places to stash your precious 10mm sockets to prevent them all from escaping. The Rothwold mini ratchet set is a must-have for adventurers and riders of classic bikes. It's small, light and ready to help out in the event of a breakdown. LED turn signals are a great way to spruce up your bike, and these Leonardo items are simple and effective and really lift the look of your machine. If you ride a cafe racer, bar end mirrors are a must-have item, and these Gazini items are both easy on the eye and easy to fit, requiring minimum tools and know-how. Finally, we have the Gazini handlebar grips, a great way to improve the look of your bike and the control of it for not a lot of money.
So the final thing that I wanted to talk to you about really was chain maintenance and how to check your chain. So, where would you start with all of that?
Okay, so we're going to check for the slack here. If your chain is too slack and it hoops down like this, you'll have a very snatchy throttle because when you roll off, it'll dunk and you accelerate again, it'll dunk again.
Right.
Okay? That's it moving around. So what we want to do is adjust the chain wheel back, and that tightens this up.
Okay.
We want to avoid over tightening. We want about 50mm of travel there.
Okay.
Between the bottom and the top of here.
Okay.
Any more than that, and you're going to be a bit too tight.
Okay.
Next thing we're looking for is on the sprocket here. The sprocket tops have a little flat spot.
Okay.
When the flat spot disappears and turns into a sharp edge, that's your sprocket knack that you need to change.
Okay.
Right. And a good indicator of when the chain needs changing is when you pull it, and you can see a gap down behind. That means that your chain is worn. Also, we look for what we call a sticky link. So if we move it here, Just even if you want to go there. So basically, one link won't move.
Right, okay.
That's the last good link on the chain.
Right, okay.
Everything else has become slack. So if you wheel your chain around like that, and there's one link that looks not in line with the rest of it, that's an indicator that the chain is on its way.
Right, okay.
If you have a new chain
Mm-hmm.
and you want to grease it up,
Mm-hmm.
you want to try and avoid very, very sticky chain greases
Mhm.
or chain oils, because what happens is the dirt and the grit from the roads will stick to it,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously that's not good. That's the opposite of what we want. So what we use is a nice light oil, and if you can, get the bike up like that, where you can spin the wheel.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to spin that oil for you?
Yeah, sure. And then we'll just lightly do that. Notice I'm not putting a lot of chain lube on.
Mm-hmm.
Just a light film in that, and that just keeps everything rolling nice.
Okay. So it's a less is more situation.
Less is more, yeah.
Okay.
Little but often.
Okay. And if you were to change your chain and you didn't see that you were down to the wear markers, because I've heard some people talk about you have to change your sprocket when you change your chain. Do you need to do that, or can you get away with just putting a new chain on and keeping the original sprocket if it's not too worn?
It's best practice to change all three together.
Right.
They're not very expensive. I think they're about £20 or something. It's worthwhile doing it while it's off, but it is not detrimental that you have to change your sprocket with your chain.
Right, okay. Good stuff. Thank you for that.
No problem.
So with all of those maintenance tasks that you've mentioned there, working from the front of the bike to the back of the bike, how often should you be doing these? Are these things you need to be looking at every single time you go out on the bike? Is it once a week, once a month, every year? What's the deal?
So I usually recommend that you check by mileage.
Okay.
So if you keep an eye on your clock and say check your tires, your brakes, and your chain every 500 miles.
Yep.
And then do say like the oil every 1,000. Check your fluids every 1,000.
Okay. Brilliant. Well, listen, Bob, that's been enlightening for me. I've learned a lot today. I hope you guys have at home as well. Once again, thanks a lot for having us along today at the machine shop. It's been a really good day.
Brilliant. Glad you enjoyed it.
Cheers.